Well then, hello everybody and welcome back to TTL. Round number 3 for season 11 takes us to the Chinese Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley and thank you for watching tonight on TTTV F1. We hope you enjoy your stay. Whilst you're here, why not subscribe to the channel and you won't miss a thing, including the announcement of the TTG Cup. 6 racing teams split into 3 or 2 teams, or two semi-finals of 3 teams, and then the winner of those 2 semi-finals will then go head to head at the final. So it should be a really good one for that one. Yours truly, will be there for you to take to cover all the action for you. So I hope to see you there too. In terms of championship standings, well, it's looking pretty good at the top. I really wish my internet was working so that I could actually get all the standings and everything. However, I will say that Lambo is leading the way. Spike's win last time out, if you haven't watched it, has catapulted him up into the table. Jokes all week about well, Spike Corner being turned 12 at Australia. Hopefully we won't get anything like that today. He has called me a bad luck charm. I am known as his bad luck charm. So we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. But a new update out today, 1.07. Apparently it's fixed France, 1.7 gigabytes as well. So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, here we go. All the standings have loaded now. So yeah, Lambo is top of the table on 29 points. Lighty is in second on 27. Spike is in third on 25. That win last time out, catapulting him up the table. Technique is in fourth on 18 points. Squeezy is tied with him in fifth place. Poe is sixth on 15 points. Z3 is seventh on 13. Mays in eighth on 12. Tractor and Weed Nation tied in ninth place, both on 10 points. Tied in 11th place is Stefan Siege, both on 8 points. Plaster is in 13th on 4 points. Ollie P and Alan K tied in 14th place on 2 points apiece. Damien is 16th with a single point to his name. Whether you look onto the constructors, then Toro Rosso at the top of the table on 42 points, Ferrari in second on 31, Sauber in third on 27, Renault in fourth on 25, Haas are in fifth on 22, McLaren in sixth on 20, Red Bull in seventh on 18 points, Mercedes are in eighth place with 9 points, Williams are ninth with 8 points, and Force India at the bottom of the table, yet to score a point this season. And well, third race of the season in. Let's hope the Force India guys actually have a team together, because I don't think they do yet. I don't think they have a group of drivers ready for them yet. So, however, Technique is with us tonight, so I wonder which car he's going to grab for tonight. As always, though, I have to make sure that everything's working okay on my side. And let's just see. This is when I find out, yeah, I haven't linked the account to my mobile, so that's always good. You know me and my bandwidth, it doesn't get along at all. But you may hear me come through just a little bit, hopefully not too much. We got to copy the link, share it onto my Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, by the way, at KSMCGF1. My girlfriend asked me why it was so complex. I don't know either, but there we go. Everyone put F1 at the end of their name, so I thought I'd join in on the fun. It works, it's just a mouthful, that's all. As always, though, may not be able to keep up with the chat this much during the race. However, I will keep on top of it as much as I can. So I've got to send out a tweet, and then we'll hopefully get underway very shortly. This is the meta thing when I'm advertising on Twitter that I'm doing the live stream, and then telling the live stream that I'm then advertising on Twitter. tweet that out, and hopefully it'll get a couple of recognitions. Yeah, I'm wondering about this game though. It's going to be a very interesting game throughout the updates, throughout the years, or I should years, throughout the seasons, to see how much this game, see how it develops. Obviously, last time out we did have the virtual safety car deployed, if you remember last time out, and that was always going to be a pretty well, it was always going to be interesting to see the first safety car of the game, even if it was only a virtual safety car. But yeah, I mean, it's always interesting to see. We have a lobby though of 15 drivers at the moment, and are we going to get any more than 15? I wonder. You've got Technique was in the lobby. There he is. He's gone up the table now. That's interesting. So it looks like we're pretty much ready to go as the countdown starts then. 15 drivers here for round number 3, and as always, here is when the bandwidth decides to shockingly go down. But if you do comment, I may not be able to see it because I'm just trying to basically reduce the bandwidth as much as possible so that I can actually stream and watch this. Always difficult. Does it ever work? You'd be surprised. But I will try and keep up with the chat as much as possible. We shall see. Good evening, Z3. Always a pleasure to have you in the chat. Hopefully the stream doesn't give away too much in terms of strategy for everybody else, but I know Z3 loves to tune into this. Maybe it's my commentary, maybe it's because he wants to know what other drivers are doing, but you know, I'd go for the latter. If you have the internet to be able to do that, fair play to you, Z3, but no, I don't. Whenever I race, I have to solely focus on this. But well, the Chinese Grand Prix has always been an interesting track over the years, as we've seen a lot of drama. Let me get up a track map. Well, obviously we have 2 DRS zones, as far as I know. I can't remember if there's a DRS zone before the long straight, because I've got a 2017 map here, because, well, the FIA decided it was a great idea to not update the maps that much. Well, we'll get to it when we come to it, won't we? Yeah, I think there's only 2 DRS zones. It would make sense, but anyway, what can we do? So let's have some of the details enabled then. So of course, 18 minutes for these qualifying sessions. Allows a bit more time for rest and to get a couple of laps in. I think they increased it to 18 minutes so that at places like Belgium, where you've got a very long outlap, and places like Singapore, you have that chance to have an outlap, a full lap, come in and do the same again the second time around. But at tracks like China, where there is an opportunity to try and squeeze in that third lap, it could become all important as we head out here with, I believe, this is George Roberts, and yes it is. So, first out onto the track, I believe, is Squeezy Lemon, who is just here. And we'll have to see, yep, the oh, the rev limiter's back again. Excellent. Is it for everybody? Yep, it is for everybody. Oh, it's not for Plaster. There we go. We can have it on board with Plaster because he's the only one not on the limiter, apparently. But yeah, his teammate Light E is just ahead of him, sporting a blue helmet in a Ferrari. I believe the tyres available are the Ultra Softs, Softs and Mediums. So there's no Super Soft tyre, so you have to be wary of that. No Super Softs because apparently the performance was too similar around this track. There wasn't enough degradation, which makes me think, why didn't they just bring the Super Soft tyre? But you know, I'm not going to get in the way of Pirelli. They obviously know what they're talking about. But as we get more and more into the session, more and more people, no, that's actually the same amount of people still on the limiter, but never mind. Ollie is out there right now. And as consistent as Ollie is, he's struggled in these first two races. He's hoping for a much better Chinese Grand Prix, and as you can see, he's going out there on the hardest possible tyre this weekend, on the medium tyre. So we'll have to see how that works out for him, and we'll definitely keep our eye on it. Squeezy Lemon here, making his way through turn 3 now, and into turn 5, and then coming towards the right-hander here of turn 6. Good overtaking opportunity here, but you've got to be very brave. And yeah, I can't go on board with Squeezy because of the limiter, but there we go. Now we're flying through at turn 7, going through, and then the right-hander of turn 8. It's always difficult to try and do all your braking here. And into turn 9, this left-hander going on to turn 10. You've got to be really wary of that curb on the right-hand side as you head out of turn 9. Can really unsettle the car as we head towards turn 11 and then through turn 12. That white line you can see there is the DRS detection point. And with Squeezy Lemon, we're flying through turn 13 down this long 1.2 kilometre straight. Absolutely incredible. There's the DRS zone. Around about halfway down the straight. And you've got to really stop the car from well over 300 kilometres an hour to around about 70. Into the slight kink of 15, and then coming towards the final corner, turn 16, left-hander, chuck the car in and hope it sticks, and hope you don't get an track extension penalty. But Squeezy Lemon, 1:30.6 to set a benchmark time. We'll have to see who else is out there. I believe Lighty is a car out there. He is. Spike is also out there. Lambo sets a 1:30.4, so signs are looking good for Squeezy as Lambo continues his way across. Z3 1:31.9. We've got Technique Gaming who sets a 1:31.6. We've got Poe coming towards the line. He sets a 1:31.3. Lighty bests him with a 1:30.6. Getting a podium in Australia, Lighty. And as the Alfa Romeo Sauber there runs over the camera, that's lovely. It was either Spike or Alan, I'm not quite sure. So Siege is out there, heading towards turn 14 for an outlap. And again, you can see Siege is on the hardest tyre possible as he heads towards the line to start a flying lap. Spike is out there, coming towards the final corner. Again, he is on an outlap, and he is on a hard set of tyres. And that is Damien, who's left or retired from the session. George Roberts has left the session before sending a lap. So, well, yeah, it's always frustrating when you can't actually see how cars retire anymore. That's very frustrating. At least wait until they get back to the pits before you completely segregate them from the screen. Anyway, Spike there flying towards turn 6, and it's weird because they don't count this as they count this as one corner, but then coming towards turn 14 they count that as 2. But you know, I'm not going to question the FIA too much. Into turn 7, then through turn 8 we go, and then coming towards turns 9 and 10. And that is one thing they've got to sort out. I don't know whether that's a connection issue thing or what have you, but always being on the limiter it gets annoying after a while. I won't lie to you, it does get annoying. So Ollie out there. So is Steph. Is Steph on an outlap? Yes, he is. Siege though is on a flying lap, or is he? No, he's not. Alan K also on an outlap. So Spike is someone we need to be watching then. Very close to Alan K there, his teammate. And Spike heading towards turn 16 now. Chucking the car in. And heading towards the line. Now what is this time going to be from Spike? He grabs provisional pole. It's a 1:30.3 from Spike. And pips Lambo by just over 9/10 of a second. 9/10 of a second? 9/100 of a second, that's what I meant to say. Now if it was 9/10 of a second, that would be quite a margin, but no, 9/100 of a second there, the gap between those two. Steph on a flying lap, and that is painful to hear the car on the limiter for that long. Ollie is, I believe, on a flying lap. is in mode 4, is that? I think I can read on his steering wheel. And heading into turn 14, then the slight kink of 15 here, which makes sense to some people, and then coming towards turn 16. And what kind of lap can Ollie set though? Remember, he's on a set of soft tyres. He goes P9, 132.8. Siege has set a 132.9, by the way, on a set of medium tyres. Now, is he going to go for another lap? I think he is. He might try and use the slipstream of Spike, but he runs a little bit wide, and that is going to cost him time. Alan Kay, meanwhile, is coming down the back straight, and at the moment he seems like he's going to be the last one to set a time lap of the people who are out on track. So remember, this is dynamic weather, so thing is, I don't know the weather anymore as Alan Kay runs wide and across the gravel he goes. I'm not quite sure what he's doing there, but he'll rejoin the track and maybe have another go, or will he come into the pits? I think this is him going to come into the pits, is it? No, he's going out there for another run. So away he goes then on his lap. So at the moment then, Spike is on provisional pole position, 130.3. Lambo's in second, Squeezy third, Lighty fourth, Poe in fifth, Technique in sixth, Z3 is in seventh. We've got Plaster here in 8th place, Ollie is in 9th, Siege in 10th, Steph in 11th, Damien in 12th, who's retired from the session. We have George Roberts, who has left the session, but he is in 13th place. Mays is yet to set a lap, and Alan Kay is still out there. And as you can see, a nice touch from the game to include the halo mirrors. Plaster now on a flying lap. We've got Squeezy Lemon out there, just starting a lap. Lambo is also on an out lap as well, and we'll see how this develops, of course. Qualifying here is always going to be interesting when you put Spike, Lambo, Squeezy, Lighty together. They're all separated by around about 0.3 of a second. So not too bad for them, I don't think. In terms of competition, this is all looking good right now. But there is more potential to unlock as Steph comes into the pits. Alan Kay, is he happy with this time? Now going to fly through turn 16. Has he got the lap time? Puts himself into P11. All the ones, and he still gets into 11th place. Squeezy then just about to come onto the long back straight. And we'll open the DRS at any point now. And there he goes. As he heads towards the hairpin here of turn 14. As he goes through the slight kink of 15, now into the left-hander of 16 as he takes out the camera. Squeezy Lemon coming towards the line now. Will his lap stay valid? It's a quicker lap. It wouldn't have jumped Lambo, but it was invalidated, probably through that final corner. Lambo, meanwhile, has abandoned his lap. Lighty is on a lap. And we'll have to see what he can do then. Coming towards the final corner. And what sort of lap time can Lighty set then? As he heads towards the line, it's a 130.496. He jumps Squeezy and puts himself on to third position on the grid. Technique Gaming then looks like he's on a flying lap right now. But it looks like he's backed out of the lap, has he? I'm not too sure. Took it very easy going through 9 and 10 there into 11. And then through turn 12. And then flying through turn 13. I'll have to wait and see, coming towards the second sector, or the third sector I should say, whether he is actually on a flying lap or not. I'm not entirely sure. So, Siege is currently on an out lap, I believe, or it's just started a flying lap, correction there. And Mays, meanwhile, at the bottom of the timesheet, yet to set a time, but thinking he's he might go out on a set of medium tyres. Interesting strategy from Mays. If he can get it into the top 10, that will definitely unlock a new strategy for him. The only problem is, if you use the medium set of tyres and you haven't gone for the harder tyre to begin with for the weekend, then you sort of shoot yourself in the foot, because you can't really use those medium tyres again. Or if you do, they'll be slightly more worn, and especially when you've put a lap into them. Worn rubber is always going to be quicker to warm up, but then quicker to fade away than a set of new tyres, as Lighty makes his way back to the pits. 5 minutes to go in qualifying. And I'm glad everyone's chosen to watch TTTV F1 tonight, rather than any other sports channel that might be showing anything European involving a ball at people's feet. As Siege goes top of the table, 130.362. Pip spike, and puts himself at the top of the table for the moment with around 4 minutes to go. That's going to send a message to the guys at the top of the table. And interestingly, let's have a look at the difference between the leader. You can see there, Z3 7/10 of a second away from pole position, Poe a second away. So actually the top 5, yeah, I would say the top 5 are very close together. And then you've got Technic Gaming, who's not too far away. Z3 7/10 off, borderline slipping away, but he would be in DRS zone after 1 lap, so that's not the end of the world. As you can see, Siege there trying to put himself in a great position for the race. Mays has retired from the session, so that is yellow flags in sector 3, so it must be in the pit lane. So Mays has decided not to compete in qualifying, so that's interesting then. So as you can see, everyone going for their outlap now, as you'll see the top drivers in qualifying leaving it to the last possible moment to set a lap time. Track is always getting rubbered in this session. With the more laps that are set, the more the track gets rubbered in, and the faster the track gets, so it's worth trying to leave it as late as possible. Siege has only just made his way back to the pits, but he should have enough time to change the tyres and get himself into a position to get himself back out on track. George Roberts has not yet joined the session again, so at this moment in time he will not be able to race. So hopefully he can join back in a few short minutes, because he's only got about 2 of them left. Technique though flying into turns 1 and 2. He's on a mission here. He wants to try and grab pole position. He's got a bit of a way to try and do it, but I wouldn't rule anything out just yet. Here he then comes towards turn 6, locking up slightly on that right front tyre. And then here we go, and flying to turn 7 now. Chuck the car in, drop a gear, and then straight back into it again as we head through turn 8. And then into the double left-hander of turns 9 and then turn 10. Flying up the little straight up towards turn 11. And right on board with him for now. You can see he's in second gear there. Quite a low gear to be in to negotiate those sets of corners, but as we fly to turn 13, sorry, you can see how much Technique is on the limiter now that, you know, he's not on the limiter all the time. As we head now down towards turn 13, locking up a lot there, might have cost him a little bit of time. And again we go back to the high rev, and now heading towards turn 16. Has Technique improved his lap time at all? As he flies towards the start-finish line, it's a 130.5. He's shaved 0.3 of a second off, but it's not enough. And you can see there he has backed out of it. So that will be Technique done for qualifying. At the moment, he sits in P5. Lighty then heading towards turn 12, and then through 13 now, and down the long straight. Siege, Spike and Lambo all on outlaps. You can see there, Lighty really wanting to try and jump everybody here. He hasn't got much to find, but of course that'll all change in a few short seconds as he does run wide. Now, will the game have invalidated his lap? It's very strict, possibly too strict when it comes to qualifying. But here comes Lighty then, coming down towards the line. It's a 1:30.7. It's not enough to improve, but he will go out for another lap. So watch that space then. I don't think Lighty's done there. Lambo trying to line himself up. Spike, meanwhile, heading through turn 3 now. And now through 5. And then through turn 6. Sporting the plain green helmet there. Here's Spike. He'll be hoping for back-to-back wins as he flies through turn 7. And then through turn 8. Checkered flag has gone out. So Steph, Damien, George Roberts and Mays are locked into position. So Steph will be a little bit frustrated with that qualifying session, that is for sure. Spike, though, trying to make his way around. And he does say that he doesn't get enough coverage. Well, he's getting plenty of it now. Lighty retiring from the session, so he won't improve from 4th place. Squeezy Lemon is also out there, heading towards the hairpin. And can he improve once again? As that is Z3 disqualified from the session, so he had P8. He's not going to have that anymore. As Squeezy heads towards the line, he grabs pole position. 1:30.3 from Squeezy there. And how could anybody respond to that? Spike flying through the final corner. Oh, he's run wide through the final corner. And he lost a 1/10 of a second there. He'll have to stay with P3 for now. We'll have to see how the others react. Siege heading through the final hairpin. Squeezy's got pole for now. Not by much. And now Siege flying through the final corner. Can he grab pole position from Squeezy Lemon? No, he can't. What about Lambo? As he's now heading towards the line. Lambo grabs pole position. 1:30.324. And it is Lambo who will grab pole position for the Chinese Grand Prix. And let's have a look at the gap between them all. Look at the gap between the top 4. That is absolutely incredibly close. 0.05 of a second separates the top 4. Incredible stuff. And if I know Spike, he'll be incredibly frustrated with that pole qualifying performance. But as it stands, Lambo is in pole position. So then, qualifying results. Lambo in pole position. Squeezy Lemon in 2nd. Siege in 3rd. Spike is in 4th. Lighty in 5th. Technique is in 6th. Poe is in 7th. Plaster 8th. Ollie is in 9th. Alan K promoted to 10th place. Steph in 11th. Damien in 12th. George Roberts never joined back in the session. Mays never set a time in qualifying. And Z3 was disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. So that means then Alan K gets promoted into P10. And, well, that's put his strategy in jeopardy because I bet he wanted to stick on the hardest possible tyre and see what happened. Now he's got to start on the set of ultra soft tyres he qualified on. So, of course, the Chinese Grand Prix always has a little bit of action, especially through the first few corners. You've got to watch yourself. Stick to your own line and you should be okay, but, well, it's never always that easy, is it? It's a tightening radius corner, which promotes a lot of mistakes, and if you lock up going through there, well, you risk a lot. You do risk quite a bit of your front wing and maybe even your entire race. And we're waiting now for the session and everybody to ready up with their strategy, and we will be ready for the formation up any second now. See all those ticks coming on now, as the countdown will probably have already begun. I have to wait and see what strategies the people outside the top 10 will choose. So here we go then for the formation lap. Lambo will lead them all away. And what tyres has everybody chosen further down the field then? Well, like I said, Alan Kay will feel a little bit frustrated. He had P11, went up into P10, and now has to start on a set of ultra soft tyres. So, not ideal for him. However, not the end of the world. Steph, Damien, George Roberts, who hasn't joined the session just yet. Mays is on the soft tyre. They're all on softs. Z3, who starts at the back of the grid, will go onto a set of medium tyres. So, we'll have to wait and see how the medium tyre goes throughout the race. Now, of course, you've got to keep your nose clean, you've got to keep your wits about you, especially through such a tight and technical corner as the first couple of corners here. And Lambo will have privilege, as long as he gets a good start, of going in there with a bit of clean air. Now, of course, when you come to China, you start on the left-hand side of the grid for pole position, because that is where the racing line is. That's where the most rubber is. However, it sets you up for the outside as you head into turn 1 and into turn 2. If you can hold it around the outside from pole position, you'll get the inside line for turn 3, and hence the racing line. But I wouldn't like to be the person who decides where the starting grid is, that's for sure. As Senna raised all the way back in Japan 1990 that he really wasn't happy with how the grid was set up to be. But since then, though, the starting positions on each grid have been a little bit more consistent, normally fixing on the racing line rather than track position. And that is why the Chinese Grand Prix, you start on the left-hand side. I believe you start on the left-hand side anyway. I look like a massive idiot if you don't start on the left-hand side, wouldn't I? But then again, it wouldn't be the first time, and it definitely won't be the last time, that's for sure. So then, the drivers now heading back to the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix. TTL season number 11, brought to you by weakwifi-solutions.com. Get yourself an upgrade and get yourself back on racing. And it's also brought to you by faithfulgrips.com. TTL F1 at checkout for 10% off your order. Without further ado, we're going to go into the Chinese Grand Prix. I hope we haven't desynced, because it's 5 red lights. Round 3 is underway, and what are the starts like? Looks like Lambert's got a fantastic start of the grid. Looks like Squeezy Lemon hasn't got the start he wanted. Now Siege is trying to go around the outside, but Squeezy, like I said, has that track position going down the inside. And it looks like so far so good for the front of the pack. But Squeezy holds on to second place. That is Spike trying to go around the outside of Siege. That's also Technique trying to go around the outside of the Ferrari of Light E. Didn't quite make it work though. And you've got Squeezy Lemon here. Could he have a go down the inside of Lambo? He had a move. He had a try. And I'm trying to keep up with everybody here, because I saw a Ferrari try and move. But Squeezy here trying to now go around the outside of Lambo as we head through turn 7 now. Can't quite make the move stick. And you'll have to wait and see what happens during this race. So far, so good from these drivers. And Lambo leads the way, though. Squeezy in second. Spike is in third. Siege in fourth. Light E fifth. Technique sixth. Poe in seventh. Ollie eighth. Plaster ninth. Steph up into 10th place. Good start from him. And we're heading now into turn 11. Now into the right-handers of turn 12 and turn 13. Always difficult section to get the traction right, especially when the tyres start to wear out. And as you can see, through the haze and the mist, you can see hopefully all 14 drivers. That is a Ferrari there of Light E under pressure from Siege there. Or at least he's trying to make a move on Siege. No, it's trying to cover from Technique. That I got it right the first time. And he covers that inside line from Technique. Technique can't find that way past just yet. And the first lap of the Chinese Grand Prix is about to be completed with Lambo in the lead. And that's a loss of control there. Slight loss of control from Siege up ahead. Might give Light E a little bit of a window of opportunity. And Technique is looking to try and capitalise on any Light E mistake. And it hasn't happened just yet. A little bit of a waiting game for now. Lambo still leads the way though. And that is Squeezy in second place. Spike right on his tail though in third place. And for this Chinese Grand Prix, I don't think there was any first lap incident. So good clean driving from everybody so far. I'm going to have to wait and see how long this lasts though. Further down the grid, we've got Steph trying to challenge Plaster for position there. Steph won't have been happy with his qualifying position. However, that is Mays making a move on Damien up into P12. He goes. And we're going to jump back on board with Steph then as he tries to chase down Plaster for P9. Plaster losing that back end very slightly. as he tries to defend the inside line. Steph on a set of soft tyres, Plaster on a set of ultra softs. And you'll see how the ultra softs will start to wear away significantly during the race. Oh, that's Lighty around! Now, was there any contact with Technique there, or did... well, Technique has waited. He's waiting for Lighty, so there must have been contact between those two. That is damage limitation in terms of a penalty for Technique there, as he lets Lighty back through. Both races compromised there. Must have given him a little bit of a tap through turn 13. Unsettled Lighty's car. Technique has let him back through, so he's done the most sporting thing he could after that, and that is let Lighty back through, and that looks like Technique has got the move done once again. However, Lighty is coming into the pits. Now, is this front wing damage from Lighty? Meanwhile, Spike has made the move on Squeezy Lemon. Spike is now up into P2. Now he can have a chance of trying to close down Lambo. Lighty is into the pits. Looks like it was just a strategic stop to go on to a set of soft tyres, but he must have had flat spots on those tyres, which forced him to come into the pits early. Either that, or he realises, let's make a strategy change. We're this far down the order, we might as well try something new. We've got Mays here trying to chase down Alan Kay. Mays is on a set of soft tyres. Meanwhile, further up the field, I should say, Siege just made a move on Squeezy Lemon. Now, is Squeezy Lemon struggling for tyres, I wonder? The others around him seem to be okay for now, but he is falling down the field very slightly here. Was in second place a couple of laps ago. Oh, that's a little bit of a moment there from Damien. Has he kept the car under control? Oh, he's got tapped from C3. Big incident there down that little bit of a back straight. Damien's got a 5-second stop go from the game and has retired from the session in reaction to that. And Z3 now has to go around without a front wing, and on those medium tyres he really wanted to make that long stint work. But, well, sometimes those things happen. As Poe is up into P4, so Squeezy is really struggling here. Something's up with Squeezy because he's falling down the field. He's coming into the pits. Now, is this front wing damage, I wonder? Has he gone into the back of another car? Because he was really struggling there. So the McLaren driver into the pits, as is Plaster. So we'll have to wait and see what the McLaren boys do, whether they change his front wing, because he was really struggling out there. No change of front wing, and it's onto a easy. So maybe his setup is really aggressive on tyre wear. Siege, meanwhile, is trying to close in on Spike, and that is Ollie closing in on Poe. So good little bit of battling around the field here. Light T, by the way, has jumped Plaster, and the Ferrari boys find themselves 11th and 12th. Still a long way in this race to go, though. Ollie, meanwhile, is trying to put some pressure on Poe. Poe's made a mistake through turn 9 there. Opens himself up as we head towards turn 11. And Siege here just holding fire for now. He knows he can play the long game. Ollie on a set of soft tyres. And, of course, Poe on a set of ultra soft. So Ollie can afford to play a longer game here. He can afford to wait. But, of course, with that dirty air adds to the tyre wear. But here comes Ollie with that DRS. He's going to go down the inside. And look at that. Before we've come to the braking zone, Ollie's down the inside. And he's got that move done. So Ollie now up into P4. He can now try and have a go at Spike. Meanwhile, that is Technique, who's locked up trying to go down the inside of Alan Kay. And he's made the move stick. And Technique up into 8th place. Siege, meanwhile, into the pits. And these ultra soft tyres don't seem to be lasting that long, because Siege is in after 4 laps on those tyres. On go a set of soft tyres, and away he goes. Now, will you be able to make the soft tyres run to the end? I'm not entirely sure when it comes to the Chinese Grand Prix. But I can tell you one thing. Spike looks like he's trying to close in. That is Plaster who is around. What happened to Plaster, I wonder? Well, whatever's happened, he found himself looking the wrong way around. Lap 5 of this Grand Prix. Lambo leads the way by 0.4 of a second. Spike has really closed up to Lambo. Meanwhile, Steph has managed to catch himself up to Poe here. And Steph in P5, Poe in P4. And you can see how much more grip Steph had there through turn 10. Opens him up for turn 11. And will he try and stay behind before the DRS detection point? No, he won't. He goes to the move straight away. So Steph there up into P4. Meanwhile, Spike has made the move stick. Going around turn 13. Must have gone up the inside because he's got the DRS and is pulling away now from Lambo. A great move from Spike then to take the lead. Lambo can't really do a lot about that. And on lap 5 we have a change for the lead. It's Spike, race leader so far. Lambo in second. Ollie is in third. Steph up into P4. Poe is in fifth. Maze is in 6th, Technique in 7th, Siege is in 8th, Squeezy in 9th, Lighty in 10th, Alan K 11th, Blaster 12th, Z3 is in P13. Meanwhile, we've got Lambo into the pits trying to make an undercut on Spike. And we've also got Poe into the pits as well. So what tyres go on from the Toro Rosso boys? Looks like a set of soft tyres. Is that the case? It is indeed. Soft tyres go on and away Lambo goes. Now, does this open up a two-stop, or will these guys go to the end of the race, I wonder? Meanwhile, Poe goes on the hardest available tyre, the medium tyre, as he exits the pit lane. And where will he rejoin then? He looks like he's going to rejoin behind Lighty, so he rejoins the last points paying position. So what does Spike do then? Lap 6 of this Grand Prix. Does he try and make these ultra tyres last as long as possible? I wonder. Here comes Squeezy then, trying to make a move on Lambo as he goes up the inside. Lambo has been overtaken by Squeezy then, coming into turn 6. And now flying through turn 7, you'll see now that Lambo might have a little bit more grip, but you can see Squeezy there is starting to pull away through the corners. As we head towards turn 9, and then towards turn 10, you can see Lambo there going up the gears to try and save his rear tyres a little bit. And that's Lambo playing the long game there. But as we head through turn 12 and then through 13, you can see there Lambo is just trying to optimise his exit. As now we're flying through turn 13, my apologies. As we go down the long straight now, Lambo on board with him now as we head towards the DRS zone. Spike has entered the pit lane. This is Lambo trying to go down the inside of Squeezy through the DRS zone as we head towards the hairpin of turn 14. And Lambo has the move done before the corner, before the braking zone. Can he keep his nerve though on the apex? Yes, he can. Lambo then back up into P7, and Squeezy has to hold on for P8 for now. Spike meanwhile rejoins, and he'll be on the set of the medium tyres. There go Lambo and Squeezy. But Spike won't worry about that too much right now. He knows he's got to play the long game now. He's on a set of medium tyres. So this opens up the question then. Will the soft tyres make it to the end? Because if we think about it, the medium tyres could make it to the end from this point onwards. It's all about keeping those tyres in good check and in good nick. As we can see Lambo here, well, the halo makes that camera angle a little bit obsolete now, but never mind. As Lambo then in P5 will start to chase down some of the leaders up ahead. So that means then, with Lambo and Spike entering the pits, that Ollie has taken over the race lead. Then Steph finds herself in P2 with Maze in P3. Now, ex-teammates in TTL. In fact, ex-teammates twice in TTL. I wonder then how this battle will go down. Maze making the move from Mercedes to Haas as he tries to close in on Steph. 0.8 of a second is the gap right now. As Steph runs over the camera, as does Maze, using as much of the track as possible to get the advantage. 0.7 of a second, and look at Maze's pace. Not bad at all. Very consistent so far in this race, which has meant he's got to catch up, or it's meant he has caught up. My apologies, I can't really speak English today. But you can see there, Maze is having so much better traction points. Much better through the traction zones than Steph is right now. And Maze just trying to close up. The clouds are starting to gather over. I wonder if there's a threat of rain on the horizon. Of course, the teams get told that. I don't. So I have to try and guess what the weather will do. It definitely is starting to get a little bit more cloudy around the circuit, especially around the end of Sector 3 and the start of Sector 1. As that is Steph running wide there. This could be a chance for Maze then to try and make a move. Will he try and move out the inside? Thought about it for a second there, but backed out of it. 0.2 of a second, and Maze might be waiting for this DRS straight now. And oh, Steph has run a little bit wide there. And now they're side by side through turn 13. And that is not what Steph wanted at all. He's managed to hold on to position for now. But look at this. Mays will open that DRS. And, well, look at this. Steph's still down the inside, though. But tucks in and lets Mays get the position. Mays then up into P2 right now. So good patience there. Playing the waiting game, Mays. And it has meant he's been rewarded with P2 right now. Meanwhile, Poe is trying to go round the outside of Lighty here. Lighty closing that door on the exit of turn 14. As we head through turn 16 now. You can see Lighty still trying to defend from Poe. As I believe actually Lighty made the overtake. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, Lighty is in 8th, Poe is in 9th. Spike, meanwhile, is trying to chase down Squeezy Lemon for P6. Of course, that's not representative because the front four, the top four, top three, have to pit again. They have not stopped just yet, so Ollie is just trying to put some laps in and get himself as far away as possible. Meanwhile, though, Poe out of the traction zone there with those medium tyres wasn't actually that impressive. The tyres just seemed to spin up. Couldn't quite get the grip he wanted. But he's still trying to put up a fight with Lighty here. Meanwhile then, Spike still trying to chase down Squeezy Lemon as we head through turn 12 and now through turn 13. Now Spike will have the DRS here. But can he make this work now? Terrible camera choices I've got right now. That's for sure. Squeezy Lemon trying to get out of the way and break the slipstream between him and Spike. Spike and Squeezy trying to go down into turn 14 side by side. And Squeezy not leaving Spike any room whatsoever. Slamming that door shut on the exit of turn 14. And as we head through turn 16 now, Spike's battling has got to be quick and swift if he wants to try and put up a challenge for Siege and Lambo. Flying through turn 1 and then through turn 2, trying to go up the inside. Oh, that gap was closing and then opened up again. But it wasn't enough of a gap for Spike to stick his front wing in. Heading through turn 3 and then turn 4. This corner's always confused me. All I know is coming up to turn 6 now, but Squeezy Lemon still has that advantage. Poe, meanwhile, as they head towards turn 6 now. Oh, losing that back end, under braking. Maybe he has to try and switch the brake bias forward a little bit, as he almost lost the car under braking there. Z3, meanwhile, is trying to chase down Plaster. This is for P12. May not be the most prolific of positions, but Z3 losing that front wing will be hoping to try and regain a few more positions, maybe get himself into the points. A couple of battles developing out on track though, as Ollie just tries to stream away at the front. Spike once again having to wait for a DRS zone to try and battle Squeezy, and they're going to try it down this long straight. Spike right into the slipstream, pulls over to the left hand side as we head down that long straight in towards turn 14. Can Squeezy Lemon hold it up the inside? Yes, he can, but he can't quite squeeze out Spike this time. And Spike moves up into P6. Squeezy Lemon did all he could there, but side by side, you can't really push another car off the road at that point. And Spike moves up into P6. Good battling from those two, though. I doubt Squeezy will be done with that one. Plaster, meanwhile, look at this. 3 wide as they head towards turn 14 there. Z3 moving up a position as he battles Plaster there. Alan Kay, the biggest loser in that. Now, what has happened to Alan Kay, I wonder? Because he doesn't seem to be up in the pace there. As Z3 runs wide, coming out of the final corner. And once again, Alan Kay gets another opportunity. Plaster holds on to P11 for now. Z3 in 12th. Alan Kay in 13th as they head towards turn 1. Z3 diving out the inside. Alan Kay wants a piece of the action as well as he goes up the inside. Very hesitant, though. Very hesitant from Alan Kay. Didn't want to commit to that move, and you could see that with the amount of braking he did. Z3, though, up into 11th place. Plaster 12th. Alan Kay 13th. Good little battle between those three. Very surprised to see them 3 wide going into turn 14 there. As we see, that is Siege up the inside of Steph, and Siege on 4-lap fresher tyres. Makes that move look easy. But I don't think Steph is done with him just yet as we head towards turn 14. And look at this, that's Lambo, who's going to try and dive up the inside of 14. No, he isn't. But he does get the move on Steph. Crucially, gets the move done on Steph there. So this battling is starting to cost Siege now. And now they're coming up towards Maze. So, interesting stuff there. There is Maze. As Ollie is into the pits. He's done all he can on his soft stint. Looks like he might try a medium stint, and he will. To get him to the end of the race. As Siege there. So Maze is in the lead of the race at the moment. Siege in second, Lambo third, Steph in fourth, Spike in fifth. A little further down the road. And as you can see here, Siege might try a move up the inside of turn 6. Will he try it? Looks for the opening. The opening's there. Will Siege try and take it? No, Maze was sticking to the outside. Much more grip he had there on that outside line. Even on slightly more worn tyres. Still had the grip there to get the traction done. So Maze holding on to the lead right now. Still yet to make his stop though. And he will probably put on a set of medium tyres at some point through turn 10. And as you can see, Maze is forming a little bit of a queue behind him, which would be good news for Spike because it means he gets to catch up to the back of this queue. However, there is a DRS zone to take care of. And I don't think Maze will put up too much of a fight. He tries to go around the outside. And I don't think he's battling those two too much. In fact, I think he's just let them through to battle each other. Does that mean he had DRS? No, it doesn't. So he let them through at the wrong point. Here comes Lambo. Is he going to try and move up the inside? He's definitely trying to fill the mirrors of that Williams right now. So Siege takes the lead of the race. Lambo is in second. Maze still in third. And I wonder if this is because Maze is pitting. That is exactly the reason why. So Maze jumps into the pits then. And that's why he wasn't putting up too much of a battle, because he knew he had to pit in on this lap. So then, lap 13 of this Grand Prix. Siege is in the lead. Lambo second, Spike in third, Steph in fourth place, and Squeezy Lemon in fifth. The top 5 is separated by, well, not even 5 seconds. So great to see then, these guys so close to each other. By the way, Ollie rejoined in 6th place. As he looks now to try and get those tyres to the end. His teammate is ahead of him though, Squeezy Lemon, trying to close in on Steph. Now Squeezy Lemon has already made his stop. And we'll be hoping to try and get past Steph. So I wonder how long Steph is going to make those tyres last. Either way though, Siege is leading the Grand Prix. 0.6 of a second ahead of Lambo. And that little bit of traffic from Maze helped out Lambo for a little bit. But he couldn't quite get the gap down any more than he has done. But there you can see Spike in the distance. That is Squeezy Lemon having a go at Steph here. Might want to go on for that battle, Kieran. That would be a great idea. And Steph there is running wide. He has got front wing damage on the left hand side. So that just exacerbates his tyre wear. But Squeezy Lemon then, as he heads down the straight, will have the DRS. Will Steph try a move? He will try a move. Had a look for it. Lambo though, meanwhile, has got the lead of the race down the inside of turn 14. And Lambo takes the lead of the race. Finally, after 12 laps, or 13 laps I should say, on those soft tyres, Steph comes into the pits. And is this a front wing change? It's not a front wing change. Now, is that a mistake from the Mercedes crew not to change his front wing? Lighty is also into the pits. And on go another set of, or a set of medium tyres for Lighty then. So he was probably thinking he couldn't make it to the end of the race. Now, I have to say that with these soft tyres, of course, we've seen them last around about 13 laps. So will Lambo and Siege have to pit again? They might have to, you know. Even if it's another set of soft tyres, they may have to stop again, because I don't think they're going to make it to the end. They stopped at around about lap 6 or lap 7. Around about that time. So, yeah, I can't see them make it to the end on those tyres. I've been wrong before, but I'd love to be proven right for once. That is for sure. But there's Spike lurking in the distance. 1.2 seconds away from Siege there. And Spike may not have to stop again. He's on the medium tyres right now, and he would have liked Z3 to stay on those tyres a little bit longer. Who's that coming to the pits? It's Siege. Siege is coming in. So yeah, he had to make the 2-stop then. So Siege then into the pits. Tyre wear maybe a lot higher than was anticipated, which means Siege has come into the pits. And will this be a set of medium tyres then? It's another set of softs. So that will definitely get Siege to the end of the race now. So what will Lambo do then? How will he react to this? Interesting move there from Siege. Is that to put pressure on Lambo? Whatever it does though, it means that Spike might be on a good strategy after all. That does mean, however, that Siege will be quicker towards the end of the race than Spike. He has to make those laps work, and as you can see, where Siege is 3.6 seconds away from Technique. So that little bit of clear air is what he wants. What he doesn't want to do is start battling. That's going to cost him and hurt his tyres. So he needs to get that pace down. As we've seen in previous Formula 1 games, the 1-stop is the strategy to be on. But is this a case this time where a 2-stop might come in handy? Riding on board with Lambo then. So what's the thought process? Jeff might be coming over the radio telling him there's a new strategy available. And what will Lambo do? He's got Spike 1.6 seconds back. Does he try and cut his losses? Or does he try a different strategy in the hopes that Spike falls to the tyre wear? Stays out for now though. And he will start lap 16 of this Grand Prix in the lead. There's Squeezy Lemon coming into the pits on the medium tyres. So that's an interesting one then. Unless there's a change of front wing. So Squeezy is in then. He's done 12 laps on those medium tyres. So let's see if he changes front wing. He doesn't. Change of tyres onto a set of softs, and away he goes again. So Squeezy then trying a 2-stop. So Poe is still out there on a set of medium tyres. But Lambo, well, I'll tell you what, the gap has stabilised between Spike and Lambo. It's staying around between 1.3 and 1.6 seconds. Z3 picking himself up a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that'll be immensely annoying for him. Ollie, meanwhile, is on a set of medium tyres now. Of course, he's made his one and only stop, it looks like. And he pitted around about lap 12 for his set of medium tyres. So that's one that will safely get you to the end, that's for sure. Siege, though, is on the back of Technique as we head towards turn 12. Oh, sorry, turn 11. As Technique there didn't put up too much of a battle for Siege then. Siege up into 5th place. Spike is doing really well to keep this gap stabilised, though, between himself and Lambo. Meanwhile, Lambo coming into the pits, so yeah, they're going for a 2-stop. Meanwhile, I think Spike might be going for a 1-stop here. Well, lap 17, he starts it in the lead. 12 laps to go, so he's got to take those tyres for a total age of 22 laps, which I think is a stretch even for the medium tyres. Siege has set the fastest lap of the race, 1:34.8 on a set of soft tyres. There is Lambo, and that is a car off the track. Who's that then? Not quite sure who it was, but never mind. We'll never know now. Well, Lambo here has rejoined behind Siege, so that was perfect for Siege then. As once again he rejoins in front of a title rival. Technique, meanwhile, wants to put the pressure on, but I don't think he's got the tyre life to do it. And meanwhile, Spike is leading the way. Lap 17, 10 lap old tyres, and he wants to take them to around about 22. So I don't know, that's a huge stretch, but you've got guys like Plaster and Alan Kay who've done more than anybody else, more laps than anybody else on the soft tyres. So it's falling into the balance now of what do you believe. But Plaster and Alan Kay are known to be good on their tyres. That's for sure. They can make one-stops work, as I get a little bit of lag on my end. But they've been known to make the one-stops work because they're so good on tyre wear. And that has got them points before, and it will get them points again. Will it get them points today, though? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Only one retirement in this race so far. Damien getting caught up on the first couple of laps with Z3. And I don't know whether that'll go to the steward's box or not, but it looked to me like Damien lost the back and Z3 didn't really have anywhere to go. But, you know, it's all good. It's all well and me analysing these incidents in the box with only one camera angle, but one camera angle and my memory, so I'm probably not the best person to call upon in this situation. Meanwhile, Squeezy, though, is he going to try and move up the inside of Technique? Yes, he is. Can he make that move stick, though? He will have the traction, and he will have the outside line for turn 7, but Squeezy gets the move done, and he is up into P6. Lambo, meanwhile, is still trying to close the gap on Siege, heading through turn 9 and then through turn 10. Interestingly, you see there, Lambo does not go on the curb on the outside between turn 9 and 10. He does not use that curb, and maybe that's saving him a little bit of tyre wear in the long run. It might be a little bit slower, but it will save him tyre wear in the long run. Steph, meanwhile, closing in on Maze, and Steph, having made another stop, I believe, is now right on the back of Maze once again. Lambo, meanwhile, in the slipstream with the DRS, trying to go around the outside as we head towards turn 14. Siege has backed out of it. Lambo takes the position away from him once again. He runs slightly wide, though. Siege could have an opportunity here to try and make a move. It won't be through turn 16, that's for sure. But we have an interesting battle here between Steph and Maze. Steph loses that back end. Maze gets an opportunity now. Possibly not going side by side through turn 16, and no, they don't. Maze losing his head there and making sure he doesn't go too wide through a corner you can't go too wide at. And Maze, is he going to try and move around the outside into turn 1? No, he doesn't. But he's looking to try and get a better line than Steph ahead of him. As you can see there, Steph hugging the inside. And that's not the ideal line. And you can see there, Maze is focusing on his exits to try and close in on Steph. Steph doing all he can to try and defend. So Siege still battling, or still trying to battle Lambo, which is good news for Spike as he heads towards turn 13. So into the closing stages of this Grand Prix. When Spike crosses the line, we will have 9 laps to go at the Chinese Grand Prix. So we have Spike leading the way, Ollie in second, Poe in third, Lambo 4th, Siege in 5th, Squeezy 6th, Technique in 7th, Steph in 8th, Maze in 9th, Lighty 10th, Plaster 11th, Z3 12th, Alan K in 13th place. Let's jump on board with Maze here, who will have the DRS against Steph. And what will happen here then? I think he's a little bit too far back, but he does have the DRS, which he doesn't open. Interesting enough, he doesn't open the DRS. That's a very strange move there from Maze. Maybe he didn't realise he had it. He had an opportunity to open it, but yeah, didn't open the DRS there. Spike, meanwhile, 9 laps to go. He's in the lead. 10.5 separates himself and Ollie. Poe, meanwhile, is in third place. 3.2 seconds separates him and this man here, Lambo, championship leader, and trying to make the 2-stop work. And as you can see, Siege is trying to follow straight behind him. So the thing about Lambo and Siege is that they've pitted at a time, or they pitted at a time when they'd have to do more laps than they ever did on those soft tyres towards the end of the race. Plaster and Alan Kay are proving that that is possible. Plaster, meanwhile, taking to note that he did 16 laps on a set of ultra softs, maybe to try Fernando Alonso. Alan Kay, meanwhile, on a set of soft tyres still. And I wonder how long he can actually make them last. We've got Siege here, who is starting to fall away from Lambo. And Lambo is still trying to close in on Poe. But as you can see, Poe there, down the straight, was still able to extend the gap. So So I think like Poe here might have a setup for the straights rather than the corners, which has worked for him so far. He's done 15 laps on those medium tyres so far. The most anyone has done on them, I believe, in this race. So they're all entering uncharted territory. Spike is still in the lead with 7 laps to go. My apologies, 8 laps to go. Because of course 28 counts as a lap. Of course it does. So Lambo has cut the gap down between himself and Poe to 1.6 seconds at the moment. And Siege is starting to fall away. So now it's a case of can Siege get an opportunity to try and close the gap with those two battling, Poe and Lambo. It'll be interesting to see if he can try it. Definitely, but he's got to time it to perfection if he's going to make the move stick. And I'm not sure, as we come towards the closing stages of the race, that Siege can make that move work. He can certainly try and close in on Poe, but he's also got Squeezy behind him. And Squeezy's, at the moment, got that gap stabilised. But meanwhile, Lambo is closing in on Poe, and this is for the last podium position. Now it's 7 laps to go. And in total, Lambo is 14 seconds behind Spike. With 7 laps to go, he has to cut the gap 2 seconds per lap, and he still has to try and battle through traffic. The odds are heavily in Spike's favour right now. But as Lambo tries to make his way through turn 3, turn 4 is somewhere in that midst. As is turn 5 as we come towards turn 6 now. And Lambo still trying to find that way past. He's trying to close that gap, trying to close up to get himself an opportunity to overtake. Now, he must be thinking if he closes the gap enough, he's got that DRS straight, that long DRS straight before turn 14 to make the move. And I think that's exactly what he's trying to set himself up for. So, of course, this is for the final podium position as Lambo gets right onto the gearbox of Poe there. Heading around turn 12, now into turn 13. Can Lambo here have an opportunity to get a battle done? He wants the least amount of battling possible, but will Poe make this easier for him? I'm not too sure. Lambo then moving now to the outside of turn 14. Poe has the inside line, but it looks like Lambo has the traction zone. He does, and that is Lambo up into P3, onto the final step of the podium. He'll come across the line, 6 laps to go. So Lambo's next target is Ollie. 3 seconds up the road. Again, entirely possible to catch him. Meanwhile, further down the grid, battle for P9, Maze versus Light E, both on the same tyre, around about the same tyre life, and Light E there wants 9th place. Tough race, Light E, but he's recovered into the points, and when you have races like this, you've just got to keep your head down, focus on getting as many points as possible for a recovery drive. And look at this now, trying around the outside to set himself up for a better line into the left-hander here. Does it work? I'm wondering. He does get a better traction zone, I will say that. And as we head down towards turn 6, does he try a move? No, he doesn't. Stays behind for now. And, well, Maze is really struggling on the curb there. Now as we come towards turn 7, surely not. They're not going to go too wide, are they? Well, Light E's going to go round the outside. Look at that. What a move from Light E. Real guts and determination there to just go round the outside of Maze. What a move from Light E. And up into 9th place he goes. His next target is Steph with 6 laps to go. Well, he really wanted that position, didn't he? He wasn't going to give that up. Spike then starts lap 24. 5 laps to go here at the Chinese Grand Prix. And the odds are looking ever out of favour for Lambo to try and grab a race win. But it's not over till it's over. Let's have a look at some of the other positions out on track. Well, Spike currently leads the way. That's Ollie in second place. 2.4 the gap is between himself and this man, Lambo. Poe is in fourth place. Siege there in fifth. That is Squeezy in sixth place. Technique in seventh. Steph is in eighth. Lighty in ninth place, as May still tries to close him down. He's in 10th. Z3 is in 11th place. Plaster in 12th. Alan K is in 13th place. Damien DNF and George Roberts did not start the race. Siege here is trying to close in on Poe, and this will be for P4. Siege here really trying to make this work. Try and get the gap under a second for the DRS zone, or even the DRS detection point, which is coming up after turn 11 here. And I'd say he's safely within that DRS zone into turn 12. Yeah, it was about 0.8 of a second, so he will have DRS coming down the straight. And it activates around about halfway down the straight, and Poe knows he's, the car behind him will have DRS. And well, right now Poe is under a little bit of pressure here from Siege. He'll want that P4, that's for sure. Spike then starts lap 25 in the lead of the race. Lambo is closing in on Ollie. 1.7 the gap. Meanwhile, Siege has really closed up to Poe now. 0.2 of a second separates them as they head towards turn 1. Poe's run wide. Poe's run wide into turn 1. Oh, he locked up slightly. And Siege there gets the position. He's up into P4. And, well, just that little bit of a mistake there from Poe has cost him a position. Well, Squeezy Lemon is behind him in 6th place. 2.2 separates them. Big ask for Squeezy to try and make that gap up. I wouldn't put it past him, though. Meanwhile, Lambo, 1.4 separates himself and Ollie with 4 laps to go. Lambo here could get damage limitation complete here. If he's not going to grab the win, 2nd place would do him nicely. He will lose the lead of the championship, but he might be playing this long-term game where he's got to try and make this work. Forever possible, though, that Spike could get a puncture on these last few laps. You never know. You just never know in this race. We'll have to keep an eye on him, Technique Gaming as well as Poe. Poe pitted earliest onto a set of medium tyres, but he's losing a lot of time. So Squeezy here, have those tyres started to fall off the cliff there, because Poe is really struggling out there. The gap at the start of the lap was 2.2 seconds. The gap now is 0.9 of a second, and that's just in one lap. We haven't even completed the lap yet, and it's down to 0.8 of a second. So there you have it then. Squeezy is around about 1.4 seconds faster per lap at the moment than Poe. So that's not the end of the world for Spike, even if he is 1.4 seconds slower than Lambo per lap. But it's going to be tough here for Poe to try and hang on to P5 if he's that much off the pace. Tyre wear is very important around China. We saw Kimi Räikkönen in real life be too greedy with some medium tyres. Those tyres fell off the cliff when he was at Lotus, and he lost all of those positions. Has Poe taken those tyres slightly too long now? He's done 20 laps on those tyres. Incredible stuff from Poe. And can he try to hold on to P5? That's going to be such a tough ask, especially down the DRS straight. Lambo, meanwhile, still trying to close in on Ollie. And Squeezy Lemon here trying to find a way past Poe. Poe trying to defend the inside line into turn 11, has done so far. And look at this now, Squeezy. Look at this. Is he going to try down the inside of turn 13? He is there side by side as they head through. And Squeezy Lemon looks like he's got the move done. And, well, Poe here looks like the car is set up to go down the straights. It's as slippery as possible because he's still managing to keep up, even in the DRS zone here. And is that a move? Attempted move? No, it wasn't. Just looked like that at the angle of the camera. But Squeezy there moves up into P5. And Poe here down to P6. Well, 2 laps to go. And I hope my internet can hold out for that long. I really do, because look at this, Lambo has caught up to the back of Ollie with 2 laps to go here. The odds aren't looking in Ollie's favour. But I'll tell you what, Ollie's going to do his best to try and hold on to P2 for as long as he can. I say he's only got 2 more laps to do it, but they will be the longest 2 laps in the world. And Lambo right on his gearbox as well will make that so much tougher. As they head through turn 8 here, and you can see here Lambo is just testing the limits of grip right now. He's got so much more grip than Ollie in these closing stages as they head through turn 10. And now heading towards turn 11 now, into this left-hander, right-hander of turn 13. And Lambo here will get that DRS. And this could be the move for second place that Lambo's been waiting to set up. Into the DRS zone they go. Ollie's going to try and move. He sticks to that outside line as they head towards turn 14. And that is Lambo. Has he got the move done there? I'm trying to find the right camera angle. Yes, he has. Lambo's got the move done. Up into P2 he goes. And that was a long time coming. Fair defending from Ollie, but he just couldn't quite make the grip work for him. But Spike has started the final lap of the race in the lead. Will he end it in the lead? C3, meanwhile, put on a set of ultra soft tyres to go for a Fernando Alonso style thing. Now he's chasing Plaster here for 11th place, and 11th place might be all he gets at the moment because the next car after Plaster is 43 seconds ahead. Spike meanwhile flying through turn 7 and turn 8 as we're looking on board with Poe here, seeing if the tyres will last. They look like they will. The limits of grip are there, and Z3 has found his way past Plaster. So on to P11 he goes. But Spike now heading into turn 11, not far away from those guys. Not at all. And he'll come around turn 13 and down the long back straight. Well, he's one of the only people to make that one stop work. And make it work well. Poe and Technique have also tried the one stop. Ollie tried it as well. The fastest of the 2 stops. Lambo 8.2 behind Spike. But for Spike, he won't care that Lambo's closing in by about 1.5 seconds per lap. Because on the final lap of the race and through the final corner, Spike's exactly where he wanted to be. He's going to make it back-to-back wins in TTL, season number 11. He wins here in China. Lambo now coming towards the line. He's going to take 2nd place in this race. Ollie will come home in 3rd place. Siege brings the Williams home in 4th place. Squeezy Lemon comes home in 5th. Poe, meanwhile, will jump Squeezy through penalties. So Poe makes it across the line in P5. 23 laps on those medium tyres. Fantastic feat there. Technique Gaming finishes in 7th place there. Good points for Red Bull there. As a reserve. Lighty then, disastrous first few laps, but comes home in 8th place. Good recovery drive from him. Steph finishes in 9th place. Mays will come across the line in 10th place. Z3, Plaster and Alan Kay will probably finish in formation in that order, but Z3 at the moment will get to take fastest lap away with him. Been a tough race for him so far, but He'll look to bounce back at the next Grand Prix. He will take fastest lap away with him, unless Plaster or Alan Kay bring out a miracle. Mays, meanwhile, misses out on 9th place by 0.2 of a second because Steph had a penalty. So here comes Z3 then. Through the final corner he goes, and he's going to take 11th place. Plaster is going to finish in 12th place, and he will beat Alan Kay, who will finish in 13th place. But your winner here for the Chinese Grand Prix, he makes it back-to-back wins. Spike wins in China. Well, there we have it then. Your top 3 out onto the podium they come. And it was a race all about strategy and making those tyres work. And Spike won the day. So then, your official, unofficial result. Spike takes the win here in China. Lambo finishes in second. Ollie in third. Siege in fourth. Poe is in fifth. Squeezy Lemon sixth. Technique Gaming seventh. Lighty in eighth. Steph finishes in ninth. Maze grabbing the final points in 10th. Z3 in 11th. Plaster 12th. Alan K 13th. Damien did not finish the race. And George Roberts did not start the race. Well, we've had a fantastic race here. A race that was really all about strategy and making those stops work. As you can see, throughout the field, 1 and 2 stop, the field was pretty much undecided, and I think that's what made it such an intriguing race. There may have been a fewer amount of overtakes than we'd like, but I'll tell you what, it was a fantastic race to watch in terms of who does what on strategy. But that has been the Chinese Grand Prix. We're going to head back to the lobby and hopefully we'll get a couple of interviews on the cards. Of course, if you have any questions for any of the drivers, feel free to leave it in the chat and I'll try and ask them that question. As long as it's a sensible question, of course. But we'll have to wait and see who stays in the lobby. Because those are the rules. If they stay in the lobby, I send them an invite. That's that's the rules. So we'll give it a couple of minutes just to see who actually stays. I think we'll have quite a few interviews tonight, I will say that. That's not too bad. Hopefully they're all people who want to be interviewed, so that's good. So let's see if I can invite them to the lobby, or to the party I should say. And let's see, who am I inviting? I can't remember. Okay, okay. It's always difficult when I have to try and invite some people. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 for now. Just trying to see if there was anyone else. It's always this awkward part of just trying to find everybody. Right, so I invited those ones for now. Who did I miss? Because I only invited 5 there. Oh, I only invited 5 because there's only 5 of them. That's right, nah, that works. I was going to say, how did that work? Didn't make a lot of sense. I'm hearing 2. Oh, that's weird, I don't like that. Did you guys hear that for a second there? That was very weird. Anyway, the first person to join us in the commentary box is the race winner, Spike. Back-to-back wins. Talk us through it.
Hello. Yeah, it was again making the one-stop work. Really, that's what won me the race. Yeah, it was a good race. A couple of good moves, but a bit lonely towards the end. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and it was always going to be a difficult choice between the 1 and the 2 stop. How close were you to trying the 2 stop?
Not very. I kind of, in the first 3 to 4 laps, I thought, okay, my car's feeling pretty good, pretty stable. You know, I wasn't suffering from a lot of oversteer. I just sort of managed the pace. I didn't push the car too hard. And I could see both Lambo and especially Squeezy were both struggling a little bit with the rear end of their cars. So I thought, okay, well, they're probably going to struggle to make the one-stop work. So I committed to it then, managed to stretch it to lap 7, but the tyres were done by then. And I thought, okay, should be able to make it to the end. So yeah, it worked quite well.
And it must be annoying for you when you qualify on a set of ultra soft tyres. Would you prefer them to be super softs?
Nah, it's makes it more interesting, doesn't it? I mean, Ollie Ollie did a great strategy. He managed to qualify in the top 10 on the softs, and yeah, that got him P3 in the end. And I thought that was a very very good drive from Ollie.
So then back-to-back wins puts you at the top of the table at the Drivers' Championship. You must be looking in pretty good shape then. A long way to go, obviously.
Yeah, it's still very early in the season. I think I've shown the way a little bit now. I expect Lambo and Squeezy will be, and not just Lambo and Squeezy, other people who are on the same sort of pace will think, okay, it's all about pitting one less time.
And we haven't seen a physical safety car yet. We've got Azerbaijan next. Good chance of seeing it there.
Yeah, I'll probably be the one that causes it.
Well, there's no spike corner at Azerbaijan, I thought. But
It's not, no, but there's plenty of spiked walls.
absolutely, and especially the castle section, which will probably be renamed at some point. But heading into Azerbaijan then, are you confident?
I don't like the track. We'll see. I don't know. No idea. We'll see when we get there.
Have you put a few laps into the new game then on that track?
Not round Azerbaijan. No. I think I might have done a couple of lobbies, 5 lappers, but nothing sort of set up or anything like that.
Yeah, great stuff. So, thing is, can you make it through on the trot?
It would be nice, but there's a lot of good competition. So, yeah, like I say, we'll have to see on that one. At least the commentator's curse is broken.
That's for sure. And you actually did get a bit of coverage today, so that's good.
Did I? Yeah.
So there's positives everywhere, Spike. But yeah, thanks for joining us, Spike. Great win today, and hopefully see you in the near future.
Yep. Cheers, mate.
So next in the lobby we have Steph. Steph, how are you?
Hello Kieran, hello everybody. I'm not too bad, how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. So yeah, talk us through your race then.
Well, so, for qualifying I did like one run on the softs, that's the only thing I can really do. I was avoiding the ultra soft as much as possible because I knew from experience with 25% and lobbies like that, I know the ultra soft doesn't go well with the setup, it just burns the tyres. So just literally just opted for the one stop, starting on softs, got off to like a very good reason start. One point I thought Damien was going to overtake me into turn 1, I'm thinking don't overtake me, it's not worth it. But luckily held back and had to get through the pack reasonably quick, trying to keep up with volley as possible.
Yeah, it was sorry, go on, Steph.
Yep. And eventually got through Alan, and then got up to Plaster. Probably took me like a lap longer than I thought, and overtook him straight.
Yeah, good stuff. How would you describe that race then? Obviously, there was a bit of battling between you and Maze, ex-teammates there. Yeah, talk us through that one.
Well, like, because like normally me and Maze, we normally have a good little battle, and sometimes we do come together, but I thought, no, just literally just keep my head down. If he passes me, overtakes me, fair enough. Like, you know, I'm not going to compromise my strategy. I was just thinking, like, get to my pit strategy, get through that, and then try attack on the next stint, because I know I had a short life on mediums compared to Maze, because he pitted on like lap 12.
Yeah, and at one point you were running as high as second place, I believe, but I don't think you made the battling too difficult for the guys behind.
Well, I know the cars behind me, they like pitted on a different type of strategy to me, so I just thought I did my best to like battle them up as possible, but I thought no, they're just coming up to me quick as fast. I just thought, okay, if you're just gonna overtake me, just do it, just overtake me. I just want to focus on getting points in.
And you finished in front of Maze there with your penalty, only 2/10 there, but you must be happy with that.
Oh mate, I was literally when I got the penalty, I was feeling like go off a little bit of track, but I came back on and I thought, okay, I'll actually didn't gain no advantage, no time out of it, but the game said, okay, 3 second penalty slapped in my face. I was like, right, okay then. I had to literally hit my head down. Luckily I had tons of fuel I can burn off in order to create enough gap. Because obviously to Maze, I know Maze was pushing a little bit, but keeping constant, I just thought, okay, just go a little bit quicker without doing my tyres too much damage. But then also I know Light E was coming. I was thinking, right, I'll just check on the with Jeff, see if he's had any P's, and unfortunately he hasn't. So I just thought, okay, I had to push as much as possible for Light E overtook. I mean, yeah.
And for your next race, Azerbaijan, how confident are you?
Well, Azerbaijan, obviously street circuits, with those walls, especially our castle section. I'll see how it goes. I've done like a little bit of races, I know, especially like on my career mode and stuff, and the car feels reasonably okay through that. But again, we'll see what happens on the day. All that matters. Yeah, hopefully aiming just to get points out of it.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, thank you for talking to us, Steph, and have a good race in Azerbaijan.
Thank you very much, Kieran, and yeah, we'll see you on Thursday.
Maybe not, but
Oh,
I know.
Don't tell me you're going again, man.
I'm going again. Yeah, it's
Really,
tough
Kieran?
life. Yeah.
Don't tell me you can't even do Thursdays now.
No, I can do Thursdays. It's just a stag do awaits, and it's going to get messy. So.
Oh, okay. So you want to go on the messy drunk up station, not seen with us.
Well,
Your love is Kieran.
you know what? It's going to be really difficult to do in a different country, but
Right,
but there
get
you
lost
go.
over there.
I'll definitely try not to. Anyway, we will see you hopefully then. I'll see you then at round 5, and hopefully the guys here on TTTV will see you at Azerbaijan.
Hope to see you all then.
Take care, Steph.
Take care, Kieran. Don't get too drunk now, will you?
Oh, well, I'll try not to.
Nah, that's a no. You're gonna get drunk.
You take care of yourself, Steph.
Take care, buddy.
So I believe with all the interviews done, that is it. I did invite Ollie, but I don't know if he's going to join us. I'll give him another invite and see what happens. Oh, he is on the list. There he is. I'll send him another invite. We'll wait and see. But yeah, I'd say a very interesting race in terms of strategy. Obviously, we heard from Spike there, not even flinching to go on the 2-stop. And I was sort of wondering, you know, would the 1-stop work? Would 2-stop work? Because obviously at China, it's always difficult to get the tyre wear right. It's a track that's very harsh on tyre wear. As we saw, like I said, with Kimi Räikkönen, very greedy on the medium tyres. I thought that curse was going to come back. But no, I mean, I said the guys had to make it to 20, 21, 22 laps on those mediums, and they made it work. So I think Poe, at the end of it, was a little bit unlucky with the tyre wear, started to lose ground very quickly. I think at that point the tyres were just about starting to go over the cliff. So very unlucky for him, but a very intriguing race all round. And we await Azerbaijan. If you probably guessed already, unfortunately I'm not going to be there, but I am hoping Aaron will be there on Thursday. If he is here, obviously same time again, 5 to 8 BST. We hope you can join us then. Until then though, I have been Kieran McGinley, you've been watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.